Well, good morning and welcome to day one of CISO Forum Canada 2021. As the chair mentioned in the opening comments, it's the third iteration of this conference, and I'm truly fascinated by the journey that we've gone on. And to be here for the third iteration of this conference in this hybrid environment is truly a testament to the success that this conference has seen over a period of time. My name is Ali Hirji, and many of you may know me as the lead for both AI and cybersecurity at Durham College. And in today's session, I'm going to be diving deep into the impacts of quantum in the world of ransomware and cybersecurity in general. You know, often when I was in high school, I remember being told that physics, computers, are the operating systems of the universe. And if you really want to see what's changing in this operating system, a peek into quantum is probably a good starting point for you. And I couldn't think forward. Speaking of innovations in quantum, across Canada, UFT is a good example. Where I'm from in Dubai, various quantum research facilities have been established. And innovation is at the heart of what's driving quantum. And Florin, Filip, is one individual who is at the heart of a lot of innovative practices in Canada. So Florin, this is my second time as well with you. Pleasure to have you here. Tell our audience a little bit about what you do. And again, why is this topic one that brings you back and back? Florin.
Pleasure being here. So in the Innovation Center, as you imagine, we are dealing with all kinds of, emerging technologies. We are also looking at how organizations transform through innovation. And that transformation happens, using all kinds of what we call technological growth vectors. Those growth, and I like to call them that, like that, not necessarily, technologies. And if you use those growth vectors in the right way, you will support your growth as a business, as an organization. If you use them wrong, or if, in the quantum security, for instance, if you don't use them at all because you believe that, hey, it's not necessarily the right time now, you will probably shoot yourself in the foot. So for us, we see, quantum computing, quantum cybersecurity. We see also everything that has to do with, quantum cryptography as the next wave that, we mentioned, Andrew, I think that mentioned is as a tsunami. I think that if there is something else bigger than tsunami, that's what we'll see when the quantum will be actually, fully commercial available. So we want to be prepared, and we also want to create that awareness in, the cyber ecosystem, in the innovation ecosystem. Hey, times are changing, and probably to get back to, an old saying that was, don't give a man a fish, taught him how to fish. Today will be, don't give somebody an email in order to get, caught in the phishing. Taught him how to protect against that, and probably you will also, of course, be protected against, ransomware.
Absolutely. I maintain that philosophy in the classroom as well. Teach me and, they'll remember, but involve them and they'll learn. And I think the process of which you've involved folks in the conversation is extremely important. And the tsunami metaphor is very apt, not only because I lived through it, and I can tell the responses that came after that were very reactive. And speaking of the key word there, disruption, you've spoken at the enterprise level and healthcare and why we need to be considering these shifts. Florin, I want to bring you into the conversation because as we were discussing prior, in the way, for example, the world of cryptocurrencies is evolving and the way folks are trading in digital currencies, et cetera, we've seen a lot of attacks, sophisticated attacks now, that are looking at tapping into the digital coin systems that are being used en masse. Florin, can you comment a little bit about how quantum computing and quantum-based attacks can impact, or rather will impact, this space of digital transactions? Florin?
So first of all, it's clear that when we look at, the emails and we talk about, phishing and everything, there we have the two aspects. We have the human aspect and we have the technological aspect. When we move on the cryptocurrency, we actually, deal a lot with all kinds of, behind the scenes systems. So there, the technology has, I will say, a much bigger impact than simply, just sending an email for phishing. And from that perspective, there are a couple of, advances that have been done, and it's really interesting because you look at what, for instance, Bitcoin has done in order to allow, with what it's called, the Schnorr digital keys, to allow three parties to create a signature. And it's really interesting because that can be, let's say, sufficient for today's work. However, if you look into, and you go into tomorrow, and that's where, from a facts perspective, quantum computing and quantum security, can actually bring that level of trust back, I will say, into cryptocurrency. And that's because if we look at the facts, today, the Shor algorithm actually that is based, the quantum Shor algorithm, can easily factor, large number far more quickly than a classical computer. So even if today, for instance, we'll be able to, create a key from, three parties and so on, when the quantum computing will be there, that power will be able to actually break that encryption. That's a fact. If you look at, basic elements like RSA encryption that it's widely used today, again, in all our transactions, yes, we have seen and we know that a 20 million, qubit computer could break that in around 8 hours. And that's where people can say, oh, okay, you tell me about, 20 million, we are just at 1,000. Oh, I have time, related to the blue sky that Andrew mentioned. So I don't think that we have time. What I really think is that, especially taking into consideration that the cryptocurrency is not something that will go away. The cryptocurrency is actually probably the future of the financial transactions. And today we see we are at the stage of experimentation today, actually. Yes, we have, some, that we have 1,600 cryptocurrencies today. So we have some established ones, and we have, experimentation in different domains. What's happening is that when those domains will actually start converging, when we will have like national, cryptocurrencies, when we have global cryptocurrencies, that's where actually we will see much bigger impact from, quantum computing, quantum cryptography. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is that, when we talk about breaking encryption and securing, breaking encryption is not only modifies, the present, also modifies the past. So everything that we have, for instance, today, and let's say in 3 years, we will have, quantum attack. Yep. Everything that we have produced from today till, 2024, let's say, is actually, not protected. It's not only that specific time that we say, okay, starting now, we have to, to actually better protect us. It's actually everything that we have done in the past. So those elements are, I think, that are really important. And what my message is that even if you don't think today using cryptocurrencies, even if you don't, you don't explore that, because we will see also cryptocurrencies, the same way that we have seen e-commerce, business to consumer, business to business, business to business to consumer. We also see, cryptocurrencies, business models that will evolve and will really evolve really interesting when those transactions between businesses will be done in cryptocurrencies. And that will also have a big impact in, how we deal with cybersecurity when that will happen, and will happen in a different way. Probably will be also peer-to-peer, not necessary, through all kind of backend systems that we have today. So if you want, my message today is start exploring and using all those, quantum solutions that are available. Everything that is related to, to post-quantum algorithm is already there. So be proactive. Probably digital signatures and key agreements are two areas that, where organizations need to focus. And it's possible that patching those two areas will actually help the vast majority of, vulnerabilities that might come, from quantum computation. And one element that is, I think that it's critical is establish a quantum cryptography strategy. It's something that very few organizations have today. And most of the time we look at quantum, cryptography as something that, we paint our walls that have all kind of, cybersecurity colors. We paint them with quantum and we say, okay, we have a quantum,
Right.
cybersecurity there. But it's more than that. It's actually how you bake in that, quantum cryptography approach. How you make sure that is embedded in your organization, in your strategy, in the approach that you have around cryptography and so on. And again, this is because we can talk about, everything that has to do with crypto money, but we need to look at the evolution of all those platforms. And again, how the organizations in the future will actually use cryptocurrencies in order to do business.
I like that. And I think you've really hinted at the advancements in computing. There was a time when we told computers what to do, and today computers are giving us lots to think about. So I think that shift and that proactive approach is well received. Thank you so much, Florin, for that very detailed response.